Hello and welcome to Oscar Talk. It's the show where we talk about all things cinema and the awards they deserve. I'm today's guest host, Corduroy Northwood, and today we have a lovely show for you. With the Oscars premiering soon, it's time we had that talk again about the importance of the Oscars and what they mean for the world of cinemas. 3 weeks ago, the Academy announced its nominees, and I tell ya, I'm excited. Boy, do I sure hope Dune leaves all the nominees in the dust. Yep. Not to get too spicy, but I watched the film 10 times in theaters, even when we went down into lockdown. That's how dedicated I am about cinema. But enough about me, and let's start the show. With me today are some of the top critics of popular film review site, Letterboxd. So, to your left, my right, let's start with Eric. Eric, what was your favorite movie of last year?
My favorite movie of this last year was Last Night in Soho. I thought it had an amazing visual style, something really unique to the horror genre. I like Edgar Wright's take on it. He hasn't made a movie like that before, and I thought his style fit really well. And it's just another example of like how traditional like comedy makers or comedy creators can jump into horror and kind of be right at home.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have Caleb.
Hi there, I'm Caleb. My favorite movie of last year was definitely Dune. I really liked that movie. I thought it was a fantastic adaptation, and the worms were just lovely.
And in the third place, we have Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma, and I'd say my favorite movie would have to be Encanto. I just love the animation, story, and the music they made for it was really good. And I really think that animated films should be taken more seriously in the industry and in award shows. It's a real shame that they aren't.
Agreed.
Yeah, 100%. And then last but not least, we have Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm a big Marvel fan, so I really enjoyed this year's Spider-Man No Way Home. I thought it was a really fun addition to the MCU.
Yeah, those are all some great films, and thank you for that, guys. But we should get into our main topic of discussion for the night. But before we do that, I'd like to hand the reins over to our field reporters, who asked some of our viewers their opinions.
Hey, I'm Peter, your voice on the streets. Today I'm here at Sheridan College trying to get students' opinions on the Oscars. Come on, let's take a walk. So my first question for people today is, are the Oscars relevant? Let's go find out.
I would not really say they're relevant. I have never watched the Oscars.
I would say that they're definitely relevant in terms of like upper class, because I feel like those are the people that mostly watch them nowadays.
To me, they're not super relevant. I didn't watch them growing up.
I mean, according to the media, pretty relevant, but personally, I think they're a little bit overrated.
Like, as the world is changing, I feel like the Oscars isn't quite changing as fast, and I think that also needs to change and diversify the panel.
I guess its relevance has been going down a little bit.
I gotta be honest, not that relevant. They can be relevant, mostly they're not.
And we're back. So, this question first is for you, Eric. Why do you love the Oscars so much?
I don't.
Really?
They suck. I hate them. Do you want me to elaborate?
Go for it. Go for it.
Well, I mean, there's like a whole huge list of reasons why I'm not a big fan of the Oscars. I think it might honestly be easier to start off with why you guys like them.
I think it's important to see recognition and all the people behind the actual camera and working on the film, editing, visual effects, all that. I think it's really important to see and give recognition to the people that have put their hard time and work into this project.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say, obviously the Oscars has its problems every now and then, and it's always a big news story whenever there is, but I think the Oscars, again, it's about recognition, it's about giving people that deserve awards, and I think every year it has been managing to do that in a way that is more and more fair, and I feel like they're trying their best to be, more diverse with their picks and to properly, justify a lot of the Best Picture nominees and stuff like that. I think they're trying. I think they've taken some missteps here and there, but I think generally it's getting better.
So they're trying, but are they doing a good job?
I would say, yeah, generally.
So you're saying they're doing a good job at recognizing all these people. Meanwhile, especially in this most recent Oscars,
Yes, this year there's something this year. Yeah, that's a little
they removed half of the, or not. I don't know if it's literally half, but they removed like what was it? 8 of the categories. They're not airing them.
It's 8 of the
They're not
categories.
removed. They're just not airing them.
They're not airing them.
They will not be airing 8 of the categories. Granted, those 8 categories don't have as much appeal to our audience, which helps to keep the show relevant, such as, the actors and stuff.
Well, the thing is, that's what the Oscars think don't have appeal to the audience, but the reason people don't like the Oscars is they're caring too much about whether or not people will watch and not about actually recognizing people who work on the movies. And people are kind of getting more and more privy to that. That's why less people are watching.
I mean, the people still are going to get their reward, like the rewards and the awards for it. It's just a matter of it's not going to be televised because they want to keep the show shorter. They want to have better ratings. I mean, it's a business decision, and I would agree with you in the sense that they do deserve that recognition. But when it comes to constantly plummeting ratings, they have to fix it somehow.
Yeah, but they're just focusing too much on that. So when you focus too much on what the viewers might like or how to get more viewers, then the quality goes down because they're just they're thinking too much about that. Everyone, I think we all agree that those categories should get their recognition, and if they're focusing too much on what the viewer might like or might not like, the actual quality of how the Oscars should be is going down.
So what we're all kind of come to the conclusion of is that the Oscars just hold such a high esteem and importance in our culture and media and art as a whole that we really do need to make sure to do better in representing to the wide variety of audience, and just the fact that we're so important. We need to recognize that so we can do better.
Well, the thing about the Oscars is like the reason the Oscars are as big as they are is because they've been around for so long. And like they had more of a place before when people weren't as familiar with as wide of a variety of media. But it seems like everybody nowadays absolutely knows what their own niche is, and they seem more educated about the media they're consuming. So it seems like even having one unified award show, inevitably you're going to have like 80% of people who disagree with most of the picks anyway.
Yeah,
I feel
Kevin,
like
you love the Oscars.
Personally, I enjoy them. I think it's a great way to experience new things and see what other films out there are being made, because I haven't seen every film, and it's great to see like, oh, that one best editing. Maybe I'll give that a watch because I'm into editing and stuff like that.
100%. So what you're saying is you love the Oscars. So
hardcore fan, yeah. I would say hardcore fan.
Yeah, so since you love the Oscars, well, not to dismay our criticism, but that does mean it's time to cut to commercial. Stay tuned, where we'll be talking more about cinema. We'll be talking more about movies, and we'll be delving into films, especially cinema and movies.
You are always right, especially when it comes to the Oscars. But are you tired of not being able to rub it in everyone's face in an exact dollar amount of how right you are? Oscar Talk knows how, with the official Oscar Talk affiliate app, OscarBets. Now, you can have an easily accessible interface to place, graph, and share your bets with the Oscar community, or with friends using our community tab. If you place your bets through our app, we only take a 50% cut of the winnings. OscarBets. We bet you'll bet right.
The OscarBets app has no affiliation with the Weinstein Company. OscarBets also has no affiliation with any offshore bank entitled OscarBets Capital Holding Facility.
And welcome back to the Oscar After Show, Oscar Talk. After that enthralling discussion between our internet, critics, it's now time to get into the discussion of the night, the main discussion. But again, before we do that, please, if I may, hand the leads off to our field team to get some more viewer opinions.
The next thing I want to know is, what qualities do great films share? Let's go ask.
I think great films are artistically driven, so they're not just in it for the money.
For me, visual storytelling is a huge thing. The director, depending what direction and vision they want to take the story, is important. And I would also say the score is also important to me.
Obviously, it's always nice when there's not a predictable plot.
I personally tend to like either psychological thrillers or comedies, but I think that the element of surprise would definitely be something that every great movie has.
New, different takes of different stories, different characters,
Good director who really cares about what they're creating.
Being interesting and entertaining.
Anyways, we're back with some professional opinions, sort of. So, everyone, let me just address my notes. The next question that I'm going to ask to spark a discussion, in your opinion, what makes a great film in particular? What makes a film worthy of winning Best Picture? And with that, as my very dear friend Zendaya says, if I may quote her, go away.
I would say that I think what makes a movie great is a sense of authorship. Like really being able to look at the movie and think like this is a creative, like passion project of a certain director. Like it has a very clear, distinct creative voice. And I feel like we're getting less of those lately. So it's really nice to see when the Oscars do pick movies that have very clear, like creative, I guess, directors, you know?
I agree. Only thing is, it's kind of a hard question to answer because like, it's more unclear than ever what an objectively good movie is. Because like there's so much agreement and disagreement among like critically acclaimed movies. Because like, for example, like people love the movie Pulp Fiction. I could see why people love it. Like it's got a great visual style, a lot of good dialogue. But personally, I watched it and I'm not the biggest fan of it. Whereas another person loves that movie. I like the movie Seven Psychopaths. A lot of people didn't like that movie as much. So it's really what I feel is most consistent in having an enjoyable movie is having a movie where you could tell at least most of the people enjoyed working on it. Because like it might not come out with like, you know, best picture quality or anything like that. It could not, but it's more likely to come out with something that will resonate with people.
Passion
For the project.
Yeah. Personally, I think a good film should have a bit of everything, right? Of course, but for me, it's the narrative of the film. I think a lot of films these days try and stick to one script, the same page, have a twist at the end. You know, it's all predictable. I think when a story really shows a good narrative, good story, and a good, you know, direction that it takes, I think it's just a great experience in the theater to watch.
Yeah. I think there's a problem when a movie comes out and there's just so much love for it immediately, and now people want to exploit that movie and they're going to make sequel after sequel, which are only being done for the money because they're expecting people to like it more as they like the original. I think that's where the quality definitely goes down, and there's nothing good about it. It's been stripped off. So I think films should definitely not just surround themselves around the money that they're going to make.
I would agree with that. I think originality is something that we're really, really lacking now, especially in major blockbusters. Because I mean, like, you know, we have our smaller indie movies, and they're always going to be there. But the big money movies, they're just a lot of the times now it's reboots and sequels, and you know, sequels 30 years later to a movie that came out in the 80s, and you know, they're generally not the greatest.
Now, as much as this is a great segue the discussion has gone into, what I'd like to maybe draw your guys' attention to is a lot of things like sequels or movies that you guys described as having these repetition of scripts do tend to not be the ones that win Best Picture. Best Picture does tend to be more original scripts. Is there anything specifically you guys can talk about that makes those types of movies great, like a more unique one that doesn't have those more blockbuster critiques you can make about it?
Well, it seems like more often than not, it's as much of a popularity contest as it is a contest of like best public opinion about a movie. Because you could have a movie that's great and it wins Best Picture, right? And it probably, like, it doesn't not deserve it, but there could be another movie out there that if more people had seen it, it would have resonated with them more.
I think I would have to disagree with that. I feel like most Oscar movies that get picked now, people have never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, how many people watch Power of the Dog? Like, it's a good movie,
I don't
but
like
I feel
dogs
like
personally, so like,
exactly.
You know, but anyways, it is starting to get to that time where we should start wrapping up, and it is looking like it's going to be time. So I do want to thank our great guests for joining me today. And if I may end with another great quote from my dear friend Zendaya, sadly, it is time to stop. Please.
Picture yourself walking down the red carpet, eyes locked on as you confidently pose for the cameras. This may just be a dream, But with our luxurious Oscar pajamas, you can be one step closer to fame and fortune. Our pajamas resemble the classiest tuxedos so many have worn throughout the history of the Oscars. Get dressed up to become a member in the audience of the 94th Academy Awards. Feel the warm glow of the acceptance rubbing against your skin. You can win any category when you look this good. And if you order now, you can get a gold-encrusted corn holder for free.
Thank you for watching and joining us. Tune in on March 27th to watch the Oscars presentation live, and I'll leave you with what the common man or woman, or I guess non-binary, what the average person thinks about the Oscars. Good night.
What was your favorite film of 2021?
The Last Night in Soho. Last Night in Soho. I love Edgar Wright.
Shang-Chi was pretty good.
Definitely King Richard. It was just a really heartfelt film, and I love a good documentary.
I would say Encanto, Disney's newest animation, phenomenal.
Encanto, and I thought it was a decent movie.
I loved a lot of them, but my favorite movie has to be Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson. I love the style of the film and the, whole old Hollywood shit, and I like the performances.
Dune, 100%. It was just amazing, some of the shots, and I like the big worms, honestly.